All right. So yay. Okay.
It worked.
Okay. So I apologize for us being late. It was completely my fault. User error. I messed up something. It said I ended the broadcast. I don't remember doing that. So I want to thank Nadia for granting us this interview. I'm Trish with Black Main Street 205. We're doing these pop in interviews as a way to help our Black owned businesses during COVID 19. I'll just share, like, I'm a part of other organizations where I see their people are promoting their businesses, and they're saying, like, hey, order from this place and order curbside, pick it up, use this person. And I don't see us doing that. So this is our way of making sure, while we're all social distancing and staying at home or limiting our interactions, and we can't do business as we used to do it, that we have things in place that actually help our Black business owners. And so I want to thank you for, like, being one of the first saying yes, interview. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you.
Yeah, I was racking my brain. I have with my husband and another friend, we run this Black business directory, and so we were just doing spotlights for like the first 2 years, and then we were like, okay, it's not really helping. And then we both had jobs or situations where we couldn't just physically go to the businesses and pop up on them. It's like, yeah, let's, and do something where people can see us eating and stuff like that. So when COVID happened, I've seen all these, I've been in virtual meetings like all day. So
Me too.
that's the new thing now, is like everybody's in a virtual meeting. So I was like, well, I could do this. Like, I have StreamYard, I have Zoom, I have all these streaming
Right.
platform. Why not use it to help our Black business owners? So
Yeah.
that's idea. Then I just put a post and say, hey, are there any Black businesses, creatives, anybody that we can help during COVID-19? And then I got people tagging. I think you were one of the ones that got tagged, and I was like, hey, can I interview you? I appreciate it. So I'm gonna go into the interview and not monopolize the time.
No, you're fine. I love what you're doing. Like, I like that you explained like why you guys are doing this. I totally appreciate it. It is a hard time for business owners, especially Black business owners. And so I appreciate even, having the opportunity to be on this platform. I was doing something similar on my platform a few weeks ago with interviewing other business owners because I had the same mindset of supporting us. And so I did some spotlights for some other businesses on my page. And so it's funny how life kind of just comes back around, right?
We gotta pull our resources and help build our communities, because there's so much talent in the Black community, and we just don't. I don't know why we're so separated and we don't work with each other. But I'm hoping the little bit I can do will help some of us start working together. And as others see, oh, okay, they actually got something together, let me join that network, that we can build this thing and help us, because they just leave us out. And I'm not calling
Yeah.
out any races. I'm just saying we get left out of the fray. And they give
Yeah.
us money
Yeah.
to support us, so we got to support ourselves.
Absolutely.
Tell
Absolutely.
us about your business, Nadia.
So the name of my business is Crown of Glory Birth Services. I am a birth and postpartum doula and also a placenta encapsulation specialist and a student midwife. Um,
How long have you
so
been doing it?
Yeah, so I'm also a childbirth educator as well. So to make it very simple, I help pregnant people and their families throughout the journey of pregnancy, birth, and postpartum, in various ways. So whether that is childbirth education, that is helping you come up with a birth and postpartum plan, whether that is planning, if you have other children already, figuring out how you want to incorporate your children and your pregnancy and your birth and preparing them to be siblings. But the goal is to make sure that, our families are supported, our moms are supported, and protected, because we are at risk at astronomical numbers,
Yeah.
especially in Alabama,
Yeah.
right? So Alabama is the third most dangerous place to have a baby in the United States.
Yes.
And I hate saying that,
Well, I
because,
have three, and I had my last two here, and that's the worst experience I've ever had.
oh
So
no, and I hate that it happened to you, and that's a part of my mission is to help families have a better experience, right? Because so many of us have not had the experiences that we deserve or that we want. And so I provide education. A big part of making sure that you have the experience that you deserve and that you desire is having the proper education and the proper team, the proper support, but also knowing like where to have your baby and who is on your team.
yeah, yeah, yeah. My middle child, I won't name the hospital, but they can't even do a hangnail for me. I would never ever. But my
Yeah.
last child I had in Grandview, and it was a great experience as far as my GYN, my OB, and the actual staff. It
Hmm.
was, carrying her was different for me physically.
Right.
So giving birth to her was hard in itself, but it wasn't the whole we don't believe you, or it's not that bad, or you can't
Yeah.
start pushing. Yeah, it's like when the body starts birthing, there ain't no stopping that. Like my second birth, I was the nurse was screaming at me, and I'm screaming back. My husband was like, "That's so out of character for you," but I'm like, I'm not controlling this. I'm not doing this. I'm not pushing. My body is.
Right.
Y'all waited. I kept telling y'all I was in labor, and y'all wouldn't listen. So I can't make this baby not come. Like
Yeah.
it's time. I've been telling y'all for 10 hours. It's time, but y'all, he
And
want to
that's part of the problem.
said
Yeah.
I'm
And so that's,
on labor.
yeah. That's a huge thing that we deal with, right? Is
Mhm.
care providers, whether that be your doctor, your OB, the nurses, whomever is a part of your care team, not listening to us,
Yeah.
not taking our concerns seriously, not taking our fears seriously, not believing that
Right.
we know our bodies,
Right.
right?
I'm
Um,
not male bashing, but that's why I don't like male OBs, because you've never given birth. You don't. I don't want to say they don't know what they're talking about, because they deliver so many babies that they kind of know. But I'm
mhm,
like, if I'm telling you, what's the harm of me coming in and you checking me, or you admitting me and letting me hold a bed once you decide if I'm in labor or not? Like
right.
things where they can put it on your stomach and they can see your contractions and stuff like that. What's the harm of doing that? Like, you're not
Yeah.
losing any money, so well, you just don't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
The female woman OB, and then that my second birth, it just happened she was not on call, and so I ended up with a male that I never met. I was like, never again. They can't pay me. They can say, I'm gonna give you $2 million to have your next baby here. I'm like, no thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the other thing about why midwifery is so important, especially for our communities. And a lot of people I have common responses, right? When I tell someone that I'm a doula and that I am a student midwife. First, when I say I'm a doula, they say, "Oh, like you're like a midwife," and I'm like, "No, they're two different things." Um, and then the other thing is, well, I didn't know that midwives were legal, right? And
Yeah,
then the
Alabama, they're just sideways.
yeah.
So
And then the last thing is, well, I don't know if I could do a home birth because what if something happens to me, right? And I literally just had a consultation, a virtual consultation, right before we got on this live. And that conversation came up like most consultations and most conversations. And so, what I usually say in response to that concern, that fear, that question is, have you thought about the things that could happen to you at a hospital? With us, with Alabama being the third most dangerous place to have your baby, these births are happening in hospitals, okay? We are dying in hospitals. Our babies are dying in hospitals.
Yeah.
So, why is it that we have the mentality of, well, I don't want to do a home birth because what if something happens to me? And my response is the risk and the probability of something happening to you at a hospital are much higher than at a home birth. And so we have to change the way that we think about birth, the way that we set ourselves up to experience birth and pregnancy and our postpartum journeys. And that's why I say the education part is a huge part of what I do. A lot of people just think, oh, I just show up to births and that's it.
Oh, yes, of
And
course.
that's not true.
Yeah, I tried to find a doula with my last baby, but my I have a care credit, not care credit, Lord, FSA.
Yeah,
They don't accept that. So I was like,
I
okay,
do.
well, my baby's 3 now, but then it was like they didn't accept that, and so I was kind of like, well, I can't do it. But my heart was so set on that.
Yeah,
I
and
was
I think that
so set on
sometimes doulas are not, in some cases, especially in our case, doulas are not giving the resources, kind of like what we're talking about now,
yeah.
about how to run your business, right? And how to have features that will allow you to accept FSA as a payment. I
No,
accept
my
FSA as a
my
payment.
issue was that they said my doctor, my OB would have to write a letter saying that it was medically necessary for me to have a doula.
And
And she,
sometimes that is the case. And that goes back to the team that you have on, in place, right? And so a lot of my clients, well, I won't say a lot, but some, their insurance companies or insurance providers will say, okay, well, we need a letter from your OB or from your midwife stating that what are the benefits of having a doula and why do you need a doula and so on and so forth, right? So I have a template. I have a letter that I can send to their doctor and they can sign it.
that's what I needed.
However,
That's what
if
I needed.
I know if I and if the doctor doesn't want to use my template, that's totally fine. But if you have a care provider who truly does believe and you have an autonomy over your body and your birth, and they truly do believe in what doulas, what we do, they will have no issues with providing that paperwork, right? And so that's a red flag if you go to your doctor and you say, "Hey, I want to hire a doula. However, in order for me to cover this payment with my flexible spending account, I need a letter from you. Can you do that for me?" And if they refuse,
Then you find you
that's a
another
red
OB.
flag.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because the
yeah,
hospital that I had my second one, I started off when I found out I was pregnant with my third, and I had to fire them. So then I ended up at Grandview, and I had a
hmm
wonderful, great OB, and she was like she would do it if that's what I wanted to do. But then just stuff started happening so fast that I was just like, well, let's just get ready to have this baby. Because at that point, I was like,
yeah,
let's
yeah.
go ahead. And I had so many complications afterwards. I wish I had a doula because I had
Right,
the emotional support and somebody just to help. Like I have a wonderful husband and he was helping me a whole lot. He held down the fort, but it would have helped if we had an additional person to just
right.
help during the gap because we had my middle child. She was like one, maybe 1.5, and then I have a 16-year-old who was like 13 at the time. And so it's kind of like you got these kids, and then mama's in the hospital because I got hospitalized after I had the baby too, and it was just a lot. So if I
Yeah,
knew what I know now, I would have stuck it out and kept trying to find a doula and try to make it where we could pay them. I would have done the work
yeah,
and not
yeah. But the thing is,
be self like let's just get this over with. That's where I was. I was like, let's just get this over with. So,
yeah. But the good thing is, you're being a part of what is so important with getting the word out and
mhm.
sharing the information. And so, part of the battle that we fight as a community is sharing information, right? So
Yeah.
now that when you have a pregnant friend, a pregnant coworker, a pregnant cousin, whomever, you share the information of all of these options that are available to them. And I am waiting on the day where doula gift certificates are the norm at baby showers.
Yes. Well,
We need that.
that will be something I do moving forward. That would be my
Yeah.
gift. Like, yeah, get this because like I through the interviewing process, I realized that they can help you before you have the baby, like with picking up with laundry, with light services, and then after the baby, you know, during your postpartum, you can have a doula. And I was
Right.
like, I got a wealth of education, but again, when you're in your pregnant mind and your pregnant body, you like, look, I just want stuff to be work out. Y'all let me know how y'all
Right. Yeah, and that's, you got to have that village. Right.
see what I'm saying. I'm like, just get it done. Like, tell me where to be at. Just
Yeah, right.
so it was hard
Yeah.
to do the interviews, and then my insurance company was acting funky with it, and I was just like, okay, well, we just gonna get this done because I don't know how I ended up pregnant again.
You don't know how, huh? How
Yeah,
did that happen?
I don't know how it happened. So
Yeah, you have to
yeah. Oh,
have
sorry.
that village, though.
Yeah,
It's important.
I wish I was connected back then the way I am now because I would have definitely stuck it out. And you don't know what the future holds.
Yeah.
I had postpartum preeclampsia, and I didn't know that was
Mm, yes, it
so I
is.
had heart failure, and I was hospitalized for 3 days. And had I known that was going to happen, which there's no way you could
Don't
know,
know.
I would have had a doula. I would have had somebody, at least somebody, just tell my husband like it's gonna be all right. Like she's gonna live,
Right.
it's gonna be okay, and let me help out with the babies or something like that. Just
Yeah,
any little bit helps.
it's
Uh,
important.
how long have you been doing your doula services?
So almost 3 years now.
See, I needed you, but you,
I
you weren't
know.
doing it. You weren't doing it then.
I know.
Okay,
I
why
know.
did you start your business? So, what's the story behind you getting into being a doula?
Yeah. It's an interesting story. So I will try to condense it.
I got time.
Okay. So I originally went to college for psychology. Thought I would be a marriage and family therapist or
You need that
psychiatrist.
too. You need that too as a
um,
community.
Yeah, so I started out in college pursuing that career. While I was in college, I went to Alabama A&M University. So, yeah, shout out to the Bulldogs. Um, so while I was there, I started working at a facility for adolescents. And it was like a lockdown facility for adolescents that had behavioral issues. Others had, mental health challenges. They had been abandoned by their parents. Some were in the system. Just an array of challenges, at such a young age. So they were from the ages of 12 to 18. And so I worked my way up, started out as a counselor, became a supervisor, and just kept working my way up in that program, right? And then after I was doing that for about 4 years, I just was like, I got burnt out, just to be quite honest. We would have riots, the residents would run away, they would try to fight us and steal our keys. And so it was just traumatic, right? And it was hard for me to separate when I would leave, right? Because I'm trying to figure out how can I help this kid that has been left by their parents and abused, and some had been, forced into prostitution and sex trafficking, and just so many issues, right? So the company got bought out, right? And they decided to lay off all of their employees and bring on with the merger, they were going to bring in the other employees from the other company, right? And I was the happiest laid off person you ever did see.
I've been there before. I was like, where I signed? Y'all gonna pay me not to be here? Let me sign.
Yeah. I was like, give me my check,
I was like, give me the paper.
give me my money, and I am good, right?
I actually had a CMO say, "You're making this so easy on us." I was like, "Yeah, give me the paper." Like at one
Yeah,
of my
that's
real
it.
jobs, I was getting service. Oh yeah, I'm sick of y'all anyway. So yeah,
Yeah, it was just so challenging. Yeah, it was challenging. Like I was trying to figure out, I was like, God, how am I going to like I've got to get out of this job. I've got, because it was emotionally challenging, physically challenging, like just so much, right? So, but in the midst of all of that, because the turnover rate was literally like 100%, people would come to work and quit the same day because it
Woo.
was so challenging. I got kind of pushed into doing HR functions, right? Doing payroll and those sorts of things. So when the layoff happened, I was like, well, I'm already kind of doing this work. Maybe I should go back to school for human resources. I still want to work with people. People are like my passion,
Yes.
and just work with people in a different capacity, right? And so I had been doing the work, so why not just get the credentials to go along with the experience? So I did that. I went to Faulkner University to get my degree in human resources management. Um, in the midst of that, before I could even graduate, I mean, he's always favored me and yeah, just giving me things that I do not deserve, right? So while I was laid off, my aunt worked for a company back home because I'm from Daphne. My dad's side is from Mobile. And so she reached out to the company, their branch in Huntsville at the time where I lived, and said, hey, my niece is looking for a job. What do you guys have? And so they hired me. And I started out doing reception work, accounts payable. I was doing like 5 jobs. Okay. And yeah, this is a word for somebody like right now. I
Yes.
was doing like 5 jobs and getting paid for not even a fraction of one.
Right.
Okay. But God just told me to keep doing it. Like
Yeah.
it's going to pay off for you. This experience is going to work in your favor. It
Yes.
may not work right now, but it's going to work in your favor, right?
Mhm.
So I was doing all of this work, going to school. We had our son, so I'm a mom. I'm working full time and going to school at night. Okay. Um, so before I even could graduate with getting my degree in human resources, there was an opening at the corporate office here in Birmingham with the same company, but at the corporate office, working in human resources. And so they were like, we want you. So that's how I got to Birmingham.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So, long story short, I was doing HR for about 13 years. I was doing really well. Yeah, I was doing really well. I'll just say that, right? But it came to a point, and I also have my own HR consultancy business that I still own and still operate in. It's just not as much as my doula business because that's my true passion these days, but I still take private clients, right? So I was just not as passionate doing HR work anymore. When you are behind, you see the behind the scenes. Like the higher you go up in HR, the more you see, and it's a lot of times not great things that you're
So it's kind of
seeing.
like they're more about the company and showing themselves and not really for people. So
Right.
it's
And
like
I am for the people.
the
Yeah.
employees become the enemy. So it's like we got to
Right.
protect us from them. And it's like, but them are us. So what's the problem? Yeah.
Right.
I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah. And so it became like a spiritual kind of warfare for me because I just couldn't, serve God and say that I am a woman serving God and trying to do the right thing out in the public, and then behind closed doors,
You're,
you want me to help you set up employees to lose their job.
yeah. Yeah. I understand. I
Yeah.
understand completely.
Yeah. So, long story short, I was just trying to figure out what my next move was going to be because I knew that the end goal could not be me working for someone else in this capacity. Um, and so I kept seeking God, and we went to church one day, and my pastor was like, he gave me a prophetic word about that God was going to reveal to me gifts that I didn't know that I possessed and gifts that I didn't know I had. And so I'm looking for those gifts in my HR profession. Like, oh, okay. my HR business is gonna
Where's
pop.
your
All right. So
the
I'm
heat
trying
is
all this stuff. Yeah. Like I was trying all these things in my HR business. Like, okay, so I just need to move forward and do my own HR consultancy thing in just maybe some different ways. And that wasn't working.
No, it's like no, no, I meant here.
Yeah. And so God just started to slowly reveal to me where I was supposed to be with things like I started just watching YouTube videos of births just randomly.
Wow.
Just like I didn't know why I was watching them, but I would watch them like all the time. And my husband would be like, "Why do you keep watching all these
Yeah,
birth
I'd have been the
videos?
same way. Like, ew.
I'm not pregnant." Like just watching birth videos, right?
Like, are you trying to tell me
Um,
something?
I know. And then I just started researching things. And then I started having dreams about when I was a child. And so he just started to remind me of what my original dreams were that he had given to me as a
Hmm.
child, right? And I always wanted to be an OBGYN even as a child, but I decided not to do that because I didn't want to go to school that long. Just
Right.
being honest.
I'm with you.
And I'm a firm believer in kids believe in things that they can see.
Right.
And I didn't see any of us being OBGYNs or midwives or any of that, right?
No, not when we were kids. No.
Yeah,
He Huxtable,
that's
Dr.
it.
Huxtable, but he was like, he a comedian. That's like, I never
Yeah,
that ain't real.
right. And so
I wanted to be
I
an entrepreneur growing up. I had nobody around me but white people, and they wouldn't tell me what they did to get where they got. So I was like, okay, well, I don't know how to do this.
right.
And you
Yeah,
stumble into stuff when you really when
right.
God calls you to do stuff. You just stumble into it and like, okay, we doing this now, okay.
Yeah. So when he started to, so I'm a dreamer, physically and like spiritual. So I would just have dreams about
Yes.
births and being present at births, and for a while, and when I say a while, about a year and a half, I could not figure out like what I was supposed to be doing with this information, like this overload of interest and
Oh,
passion, and then it dawned on me like, no, this is what you were called to do, and you need to follow, you need to answer the call. That's
yeah.
why the passion is not there. That's why it's not working out in these other areas because, that was for a season and that season is up. And so I had to answer the call. Like I mean, my personality, sometimes I have to be forced into things.
Right. That's what I tell folks. Until there's conflict, I'm gonna stick with you. Once you say get out
Yeah.
my face and leave me alone, I'm like, this is
Yeah. So I know.
even
So
though you see
yeah.
the red flags, like for years, you be like, I said I got your back, I got your back. And then they just knock you aside the head. You're like, oh, I guess it's time for me to go. And you're like, 3 years ago, I was supposed to be gone. I'm still here.
Yeah, yeah. So I learned from that. Yeah, I learned a very hard lesson that I do believe was a part of his plan for me. That I had to learn um, to be obedient in time.
Yes,
Like
yes, yes.
have a because I would have a yes, but my yes will be delayed, and that's not true obedience.
Ooh.
Um,
Why are you preaching at me? Like I'm appreciate the way you're coming at me right now.
it's true. It's
I need to
not
focus.
obedience. It's not
Okay.
obedience.
You have to move a whole lot on my obstacles, Lord, if you want me to do that, because I'm not doing it.
I
I'm gonna do
know.
it, but you're gonna have to move all them 68 roadblocks.
Yeah,
I ain't fighting with anybody.
I know. But the thing is that I learned is I had to learn to give God a quick yes, right? Now
Gotcha.
it takes practice and trust. You have to really trust him and
Mhm.
have an ear to him, meaning like you have
Right.
to pray about having a sharp ear to him to know that what he is telling you is what he's telling you and not your subconscious or not your desires.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you have to know, be able to discern your voice from his.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't an easy like overnight process, but the more I practiced that, the more the floodgates opened. And so because he has shown himself faithful to me, those yeses are like a lot faster now. Like I don't have delayed obedience. You know, sometimes it's a challenge because it's scary in business. It is not the easiest thing. You know, entrepreneurship looks like amazing and fly and sexy and all that good stuff. But there, like last week, I was like, look. Yeah. So you have to know that he has placed you in that business, that he called you to that business because when it gets hard, you have to know for without a doubt that this is where you're supposed to be.
Yes.
And so that's a long answer to your question about how I got here.
Yeah, I love it. And I'm glad I said I had time because I
Right.
love it. So with COVID-19, I could not imagine being pregnant right now. Like I don't know how. I mean, you
Yeah.
have no choice. Once you get pregnant, you have no choice but to have a baby. But what are the challenges you're having in your business with this COVID-19?
Yeah, so one of the challenges, of course, was not being able to be present physically at births, at hospital births.
Hmm.
Yeah, so a lot of, not all, but most hospitals decided to put doulas in the category of visitors, which we are not.
Hmm.
However, most hospitals put the doulas in the category of visitors. And as you know, during COVID, your visitors are very limited when you're in the hospital, if any at all. And so, at a lot of hospitals in the area, except for one that I love, we were not allowed to be at a birth physically. So, that brought about me, just really increasing my virtual birth services. So I offered it before COVID for clients that do not live in the area, that live out of state, but wanted to
That
hire me
means you were
for.
tapped in because you God knew something was about to come and you had to go
Right.
ahead and set it up. So that means you're
Yeah.
tapped in.
I know, right? So I was already offering those services, but obviously, like my physical service is what most people hire me for.
Yeah, and that's what they need. Yeah.
Right. And so the clients that hired me to be present at their birth, and then COVID happens, and your hospital decides that doulas are visitors and not a part of your care team, eliminated me from being able to be physically there. So I would have to support moms like how we are virtually.
I would still go for that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll still be like, I understand.
Yeah.
COVID stopped you, but you're still here. So
Yeah, right. And so I ended up doing, virtual childbirth education classes, virtual consultations, virtual prenatal visits, virtual postpartum visits, everything was virtual that could be virtual. And then for the parents who were having their babies at the hospital that still allowed doulas, then I would do everything else virtually. And then once they went into labor, I would, show up at their birth. But it definitely created some challenges of figuring out how to be a birth worker virtually. That's just
you
not
can't
what we
be at
do.
the birth. Yeah. I was like, how do I help you with your birth? But I can't be at the birth.
Right.
That's one solution. Have you had any other solutions that you've implemented during COVID-19?
Yeah, so I'm also a business coach. And so the business coaching sessions and mentorship had to be virtual. But it presented challenges, but it also presented solutions in the way of showing you if what you're doing is truly what you should be doing, right? Because
Ooh, that's the word. That's the word. That's the
you
word
know
right
because
there.
if you don't have the motivation to figure out a solution to continue what you're doing, then that probably means that maybe that's not where you should be.
I need a paper and some pen. A pen and a sheet of paper. That's quotable.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh man,
it's
I'm gonna remember that.
yeah.
That hit just right. So then I'm gonna remember that.
Yeah. So it has exposed a lot for myself, for clients. Some people want to hire a doula because it's trendy and because it's cool to do. But if you don't have the true mindset of having the support that you need and doing the work that is required to achieve your goals, whether that's birth related, business related, family related, relationship related, um, you're not going to achieve that goal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I had to figure out just getting over those obstacles, right? Improving my services and making my clients feel like they were still getting the same level of quality and the same level of service, and they were still getting the same amount of care from me, even though it was virtually. And that's what you have to figure out as a business owner, how to service your clients.
How to pivot and how to give value and quality. I get
Yeah.
Okay, so how can we support you in your business?
So many ways. So one way, one way is kind of like what I talked about with, being that village, and truly getting back to our culture with, it takes a village, right? That came from us, but we have to make sure that we're implementing that in everyday life, right? So when your friend says that they're pregnant, there are a lot of like um, gender reveals and baby showers and sip and sees and all of that. But in those moments, which are great, yeah, I'm here for all of those. But make sure that your friends and family have what's truly important, right? Clothes and shoes and all of that is great, but we need to focus, like reprioritize our families and our friends, and make sure that when they go into birth, that they come out okay.
Or and that while they're going through being pregnant, because like my mom had three, my sister has four, my older sister she has one, but that child's adopted, and now I have three. And at no point in any three of my pregnancies did they tell me what I was going to go through.
Yeah, it's like a hush thing, a secret society.
And I'm like, even with the postpartum, like my sister, I know with her third child, she went through postpartum, and I went through postpartum with my last. So with us, it's every third child. My mom went through postpartum with me. I never knew that. So I was like,
Right,
why didn't y'all talk to me about this? Because then I wouldn't have to figure it out on my own.
right.
And I would
Yeah,
have knowing this is a possibility because all the women in your family have gone through this. So,
right,
I would have gotten a therapist, and I would have just
right,
every week been on the couch pregnant. I would have went to the OB appointments, then I would have went to my therapist, and that's how I would
right,
handle that. So when I got sick, when I was hospitalized with heart failure, it would have been no thing. I'd just been like, hey, I'm gonna get through this, and everything's gonna be all right. I
right.
would have had to
Yeah,
be crazy with it. I just feel like
yeah. And I think, I mean, even you sharing that is so important. And I appreciate and honor your courage for even sharing that here on this live because, yeah, because so many of us suffer in silence. Kind of back to
not
like,
this one. I'm just
yeah,
worried
like your family doesn't say anything.
what's going on.
Yeah, your friends don't say anything.
Yeah,
Your family is,
I'm sorry about that.
no, it's okay.
That's I did AmeriCorps after I had my third child. That was a good decision, but it was it was a terrible, terrible decision. I was postpartum.
Mm,
I just told him, I said, hey y'all, I'm going through postpartum right now. So I'm gonna be medicated and y'all gonna have to be okay with it. And I,
yeah,
and I don't know how I'm gonna act. So
right.
just know that's where I'm at. And
Yeah.
it worked out.
Yeah, I'm glad it worked out. We as a community have to share those experiences so that moms don't feel ostracized and
Mm-hmm.
feel like they are the only ones that have experienced that. A lot of my clients that experience um, perinatal depression or postpartum depression um, feel like they are alone or something's wrong with them because their friends and their family are not sharing that they had that same
Not
experience.
sharing squat
Yeah,
to after you get through it. And then they're like, oh yeah, I
yeah,
went through that too. It would have been nice if you had like warned me and just said, hey, you might have this like heaviness
right,
hanging over you. like you, like my sister, she's the only one that kind of shared with me. She said,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hurt my kids. I just don't want to be around them.
Right.
I was like 19, so I was like, oh, okay. I don't know what that means. But then when I had mine, I wanted to be around them. I didn't want to be around anybody else. And then I'm so
Yeah.
in the community, and there's other stuff I was doing where I had to be around folks, and I was like, I really just don't want to be bothered by any of y'all right now. Like I
Right.
really want to stick something in y'all eye. Like I wish you would stop talking to me. That's where how I was during my postpartum. Like I
Right.
love my babies, and I wanted to be there for my oldest. I didn't want to deal with nobody. I just want to have us all in a cocoon and nobody else could get in. And that's
Right.
how mine was.
Yeah, and so many women go through that. So it's important to give moms options. So one way you can do that is purchasing a gift certificate for a family member, for a friend that's pregnant, for a birth doula, a postpartum doula, researching placenta encapsulation. It definitely helps with keeping postpartum depression and baby blues at bay. And it helps with breastfeeding
So when
as
you say
well.
that, that means they're going to eat their placenta. Is that what you say? You know, you have to break it down for us. What
Yes.
placenta
So,
capsulization means.
yes. So
You
placenta
make the
encapsulation.
capsule and you swallow it like it's a vitamin or a pill.
Right,
That's
right.
what.
So your placenta is I steam and then dehydrate the placenta and then grind it and create it into capsules for my clients. And then you take it, like you said, like a vitamin every day until they're all gone. And it depends. Usually you get at least the minimum is 100 capsules, but obviously the number of capsules that you receive depends on the size of your placenta. So, depending on if it's on the smaller side or the larger side, will determine how many capsules it yields.
God.
But yeah, it's a capsule that you take like a vitamin.
And what does that do for the pregnant woman's body?
Yes, so it helps with keeping postpartum depression and baby blues. It reduces your risk of that. It also helps with your iron levels, so increasing your iron levels. Most pregnant people have low iron, right? And then you have a baby, you lose more blood. Your
Wonderful.
yeah, your iron levels deplete even
I
more.
have a heater on me right now. You just can't see
Yeah.
it. Blow
um,
it.
Yeah, and then postpartum depression and baby blues. Studies have shown that lower iron levels contribute to increasing your risk for postpartum depression. So it helps with that.
I wasn't
Um,
told that till after I had it. I was like, okay, well, hey, y'all could have told me that. I would have doubled up.
yeah,
Did
I
something
know.
different.
These are the things I discuss with my clients. Yeah, these are the things we talk about,
Mhm.
so that they are informed about what's happening to their body and what to expect during postpartum.
The OB will be like, I'm concerned about your iron. I'm concerned about your iron. I'm like, but why?
Right.
Well, and you don't get that from your OB. Well, I've never from any of my OBs gotten that. Like they just said, this is low. And I'm like, okay, so what do you want me to do about it?
Yeah, right. And that's the difference with
Well, why?
yeah, with midwifery care. The midwifery care model has you have a higher level of self responsibility for your own health, which means you have to have knowledge about your body. So
Yeah.
your midwife is not going to say, "Oh, your iron level is low." They're going to tell you what that means, what your iron level actually is, and what it should be, and what you can do to get it to that level, and why it needs to be there, so that you are involved in your own healthcare. You have to have some involvement in your own
2015,
healthcare.
2016, 2017, I needed you.
Yeah.
Needed
And
you.
that's even outside of pregnancy, right? So we have this white coat trust. We trust people that have the white, and not saying that we should not. However, we should know who we're trusting, right?
Right,
And
right,
they should not know more about your body than you know about your body. And so
right.
those are the things that I work through with my clients. And so at first, you can kind of tell the difference with some OBs. There are some great OBs out there for sure. All OBs and midwives are not made equally, obviously. But if you go to a doctor, an OB, whatever that care provider is, and they're not giving you detailed information about your body, that's something to be alarmed about, and you to take action on that.
Right.
So that you can know what's good for your body, right?
I'll
So,
share with you why I fired my second OB. So they did this test on me to show if I was going to go into birth early. They didn't explain much about it, but then they said
hmm
I was in the range. So I asked them, I said, well, can we meet and we come up with a birth plan? Because I was like 20 something weeks. So I was like, in the event I go into labor early, how can we make sure my child has the best chances of survival, and that we try to hold off this pregnancy as long as possible so she can develop? Because I knew it was a girl. Uh,
right.
because I don't like surprises. My dad's like, you need to just wait until the baby comes out.
No,
Why? Like,
you were like, no.
why? But so I knew that, and I was like, I just want to make sure, because I know certain organs had not developed yet.
hmm
And it was like, well, we're jam packed, but we can fit you in. So me and my husband, we go and we sit in the waiting room, and there's nobody in there when we get there. And we waited about almost an hour, and nobody came and got us or anything like that. So I left. We got almost to the house, and they call, and they're like trying to make it seem like it's our fault that we didn't meet. And I was like, you showed me you don't care about my child. Like, I'm not even worried about me. I'm worried about you. Just showed me you have no regard for my child whatsoever. And I ain't
Right,
forgot when I had my second baby how y'all did me. Like, I ain't
right.
forgot. Like,
Yeah.
I was pregnant with my third, and I used the same one. I didn't plan on giving birth at that hospital, but I did not
hmm
know that once you choose the OB, you're stuck at whatever hospitals they practice at. So I didn't know that, because I said, had I known that, I would have been fired you. But
hmm
I was like, okay, I liked her until they showed me they didn't care. I was like, you could always pull me in your office. You could
Right,
give me at least 5 minutes of your time. Like, I know you're not
right.
that darn busy. As long as I stood in those rooms waiting on them to tell me like everything's all right. Like, you could have made somebody wait 5 minutes so you could talk to me.
Because they
But
only talk to you for 10, 15 minutes anyway.
right. So I was like, yeah, I'm not buying it, and it's whatever. I'll go find somebody else. And so I have the friend that helps me with this directory. She doesn't have any children, but she was like, my GYN is like dynamic. She's awesome.
Yeah,
And she's like, it's gonna be hard to get in, but God is good. I called and it was like, yeah, we can fit you in. I was like, bet. Like,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I love my OB, but I'm not. I ain't gonna say I'm never gonna have any more kids. I don't plan on it. It's not
There
even
you go.
my desire to have any more children.
Well, if you
So,
do, you know how to find me.
yeah, I'll be like, I need you.
Yeah, I
I don't
know.
have the essential oils and the diffuser going. I had everything
Yeah,
I needed to do on my own, except I didn't have anybody, because I tried to leave the hospital. I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not having this baby. No.
oh wow, yeah, yeah. Having some help would have been great. Definitely.
No, listen, I just saw you crawling down 280 with your butt out because I had the hospital gown on. That's all I could see.
Yeah,
Oh, my
that wasn't
mind.
gonna work.
Yeah, he said my mind went immediately to you crawling down 280. I just said, okay, I'll stay.
Yeah, that's a good choice. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's important though. Like all of this that you're sharing is so important. And like to share that with your, community and say, hey, my gift to you is going to be a doula.
yes.
And so that's one way people can support. Um, the other way is that I just launched a clothing line of my own recently within the last, so I launched it on Mother's Day.
Okay.
And I started with this shirt, which is a Boss Mom shirt. And
Oh, I love it.
yeah, and then I have some other shirts that I just launched this week, actually, like this morning, for dads as well.
So it's the same website that you
Yeah,
gave me.
it
Okay.
is. It
Okay.
is.
Let me pull it up
Um,
so I can show everybody.
okay. And so, in light of the circumstances in our country, everything that we have to face as people. There's a new chart for men because I believe that our men are very important to our support system, important to raising our children, important to everything that we do in life, right? And so a lot of times when people think about birth, they only think about the mom. And it's really important to me to incorporate the entire family in the process, to make sure that it's something that everyone can be a part of. And we want to make sure that we are protecting us as women and also our families and our men. So, with that, I launched the Defend the Black Family shirt as well.
Okay, can you just see your website in the middle?
Yes, if you
Okay.
scroll down just a little bit, yeah, there you go.
Okay. Boss
Yeah,
mom. Yes.
yeah. And that's for, the moms that are handling our business. We are taking care of our families. We are bossing up and taking care of ourselves. We're figuring things out. We are making sure that we're mentally well, we're physically well, spiritually well, and just bossing up in all areas of your life, right? I just believe that sometimes we need to pat ourselves on the back. It's so hard sometimes to like give ourselves kudos.
Yes. Yes.
But that's what this line is about, like encouraging us as people, as
You got the
mothers, as
business side.
fathers.
That's what I'm talking about. I had to look
Y-
first. Like, let me go.
yes, it's for everybody.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah. We come in all different shades and all different shapes and all different colors, different melanin levels. So, I'm really big on making sure that we have something for everybody. I'll also be launching some kids things, and a line for my dog as well, a dog bandana and apparel line. So those are some of the things to come for sure.
Okay, do the shirts run small or large or
True
how
to size.
true to size?
So this is a me. I don't know if you can see me. This is
I could until I pulled up the website. I'm trying to find the shirt I had on before I change. Yeah, I want this shirt. I'm
yes.
getting you a shirt. For 2X. So yeah, let me get the 2X.
Yeah, and they're true to size. Now they stretch. So like this is a medium. I usually wear a large. But the one that I have on is a medium, so you can downsize depending on how you want it to fit. I wear the large when I want to be cute and tie it up and show a little skin or whatever. Be fast a little bit. Be an adult for the day. So it just kind of depends on how you want it to fit and how you want to style it. So I'm a big like graphic tee person, and so I was like, well, why not have my own? Um, so that's how that happens. Yeah. Oh, look at you.
I'm looking through. I was just to check out, but I said, let me look at the rest of the site too. Uh-oh. Okay, I clicked too much. That's all me, y'all. That's me clicking too much. Let's see. Let me go back to childbirth education.
Yeah, so different classes are available for childbirth education, and there are different packages for like birth, postpartum, or if you are interested in mentorship, or business coaching. I think that a lot of times we have a vision and we want to start a business, but we don't know where to go. So that's what that is. That's the coaching and mentorship program. So it's a monthly option where you pay monthly. And one is a 3-month program, and the other one is a 6-month program.
Okay, so this is
Um,
you're teaching other people how to have a
yeah,
business. Gotcha. That makes
yeah,
sense now. Okay. I'm glad I
yeah. Because we need, a lot of the trainings to become a doula talk about, birth positions and, pain management techniques. But I find it very interesting that they only talk about the business portion for about 30 minutes out of 4 to 5 days.
yeah. Yeah.
And you have to understand that that is a strategic move, because obviously they know how to run a business, right? If
Or
they
do
have a
they?
So that's the birth photography package. I have a
No, I was
wonderful.
asking, I was saying, do they? If they gloss it over, they must not
Yeah,
know.
well, they do, but see, if you don't teach the business side of things to others, you can monopolize that business,
Uh,
because then no one else is becomes your competition because you are getting all of the business. And that is what has happened. And that's why you don't see as many black doulas. And why people are like, oh, I didn't know we had that many black doulas, because the business aspect is totally left out of the training, right? And that we have to recognize that that is a strategic move on their end. And we have to combat that with teaching our own of how to be successful. A lot of doulas are doing this just as a part-time
I
thing,
want to
or
stay on this postpartum page and let them,
yeah,
because if you are pregnant or know somebody, they need help with postpartum.
absolutely. It
Like I want to
is,
share a story that just happened. I won't use names, but my friend had her daughter recently had a baby, and she went through something that I went through, and I was able to tell like that's what's happening. Like there's nothing medically is wrong with you. It's just
yeah,
that you having that baby is messing with your body. Like that's all that is.
right. And you have to, yeah, like you have to have proper experience support. So a lot of times people will say, oh, well, I have my friends or I have my mom, but they are not experts.
Yeah, they can only tell you what they've been through. Because that's what my friend said. She was like, "Oh, I went through that, so I didn't know how to help her, and I was just scared."
Right.
I was like, "Well, I went through that. I can tell you exactly what I can tell you
Yeah.
exactly what's wrong with you. It feel like you're dying."
Right.
She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Ain't nothing wrong with you." I didn't say it like that. I was just like,
But
"It's
yeah.
just anxiety. It's your body."
Yeah. And then,
Nervous.
we experience as a black people, we experience so much pressure and tension. There is something called biological weathering that we experience as people. So the stresses that we encounter day in and day out that you may experience subconsciously or consciously, right? Especially right now in the climate that we're in, our men being murdered in the street,
Yes.
you know, raising children. If you have a girl or a boy, they're killing us for absolutely no reason. A lot of times getting away with it. And so just the stressors of if you get pulled over by a cop, or if you go to the store and someone's following you around in the store, or you're the only person of color that works in your office, and so you always have to perform, and you always have to have good, good manners, and you can never question what other people are saying, right?
Right.
All of those stressors have a biological effect on our bodies, which contributes to the numbers of us dying at higher numbers, and why Alabama is one of the worst places to have a baby, because of the racial discrimination that we experience.
Right. Yes. Yes.
And so if you're experiencing racial discrimination in everyday life, we have to recognize that that also happens within our healthcare systems, and we have to combat that with support and education. And so the education and the support and the healthcare and access to healthcare are some of the ways that we combat that.
Everybody look
And
away. Don't look at my card number.
yeah, look, okay, yeah, do that after the fact. So there are so many challenges that we have to combat, and having a doula or a midwife
Uh-oh.
helps you
Oh no, it's
with.
my other card.
Well, look, you probably should do it afterwards so we can see your card number.
Okay, well, good. Yeah, yeah. Y'all said that one. And
Yeah, you
I'll
probably
do it
typed in a number
afterwards.
wrong trying to hurry up so we didn't see that card
Yeah.
number. So, or maybe you just put that in the back so that we can't
Okay.
see it. Yeah.
Okay,
But
well,
yeah,
I'll
so
share my screen. Let me do that. Uh, stop sharing.
there we go. That way we can't, we don't want nobody to get your identity, okay?
Right. They're gonna give it right back.
Right, girl, okay.
They're gonna give it right back and be like, "How dare you?"
But yeah, so we just, part of my what I do is making sure that we are set up for success, to combat those challenges that some we can control, some we cannot. And sometimes we are not listened to like we should be. We're experiencing racial discrimination on top of being pregnant. And so all of those stressors can cause you to have postpartum depression.
Hmm.
It's not like it wears on you mentally. Like right now,
Right.
you can't go on social media without seeing one of us has been killed again.
Right.
And what does that do to you mentally and spiritually? And then you pass that on to your baby, right? And so you have to make sure that you have a full team to support you, whether that's a therapist, a doula, a midwife, an OB. But we have to do the work to protect us, because if we don't protect us, who will?
And then you have children who have to heal from their childhoods because you're
Yeah,
so screwed up that you do the most and you're trying to protect, but
right.
most of us as Black women don't know how to express that we're just trying to stop you from harming yourself.
Hmm.
We go, hey,
Yeah.
we're going somewhere. Don't jump around. That's not because we don't like you jumping around. You'll fall and break your neck or break your leg, and that's why we're saying don't jump around or
Yeah, just being right, learning, and that's part of what I do is like preparing you for parenthood. And
yeah,
it's just not there's no book, but you can definitely figure out ways. Right now, one of our challenges is we have a 12-year-old, and we have to talk to him about, okay, when you go to walk your dog in the neighborhood that you live in, there are certain things that you cannot do as a Black boy.
right.
You have to have your phone with you when you walk the dog. Your phone has to be charged when you walk the dog in case you need to call us.
Right.
Like this is what I mean by biological weathering that we experience as a people,
Mm-hmm.
that affects our pregnancies and that affects our babies and it affects the outcomes of our pregnancies. And so we have to do what we have to do to protect.
Right.
And part of that is hiring a doula. Like at this point, it is not okay not to have a doula. Everyone needs one. And if this is not a scare tactic, because sometimes people use things as scare tactics to get people to hire them or whatever. This is not a scare tactic. These are facts that you can research and
Yes.
read for yourself. It's not like Google. You use Google for everything else. Google like the outcomes and the rates for us in birth. They are crazy.
Yeah.
It is like it's another type of pandemic. Like we're dying at those.
Right. Yeah. My husband's coworker's girlfriend is in the medical profession, and she was like, yeah, like we're trained that Black people don't experience pain. They have higher tolerance for pain
Right,
than white people. So
right.
when
And that
y'all are
comes
saying
from,
y'all are hurting, we don't.
yeah,
We're trained to not really hear it because we know y'all are supposed to be able to take pain. And she's like, it's BS, but that's what we were really trained at. And I'm
yeah,
like, wow, to have a white woman say that, I'm like, okay, well, I can't argue with that. I can't tell you what
yeah,
trained you. And
yeah.
I know
I
how
mean
they
that,
treated me. And I was just like, dude, I was like, I'm going to have this baby here. And my husband said, I can't handle that, babe. He's like, I can't, mentally, I can't handle you having this baby at this house. Please go to the hospital.
yeah, but see, that's the thing about like where we have to know our history,
Right,
right? And we have to know that midwifery started with Black women, right?
right,
For
right.
one,
Yeah.
we were not allowed in a hospital. They did not allow us. We did not have the option. So we were forced to birth our own babies and we were forced to birth white people's babies, okay?
Mhm.
And the art was taken from us and criminalized in such a way that it created fear in our minds that the hospital was a safe place to go. And gynecology was created by a white man
Yes.
that experimented on Black women. And the
That
thought,
I didn't know. Okay, I learned something. I knew it was crazy.
Yeah.
I know he experimented on us.
Yeah. So, the mindset of our pain levels being higher comes from that. So when you're experimenting on black slaves, you're doing surgery with no anesthesia, with no pain medication.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is where that mindset comes from, that we have higher pain tolerances like we're animals, right? And
Yeah.
that is where the racial discrimination comes in, when we go into the hospital and when we go to a doctor and tell them that we are in pain and they don't listen, and we end up dying in childbirth, right?
Mhm.
Because for years it has been taught, and is still being taught, that we have higher pain tolerance than a white counterpart, right? And which is why when we say we're in pain and they give us a Tylenol, and a white woman says that she has the same level of pain, they give her a prescription medication or
Mhm.
narcotic, right?
Mhm.
Even though I said my pain level is a 7 and she said hers is a 5. Right, I get the Tylenol, she gets the narcotic. Right, I get characterized as being dramatic,
Yeah.
and she gets characterized as a woman that's in pain that needs help.
Mhm.
That we have to know where that comes from, and so that we can change and know the facts and change our mindset, and know that home birth is safe. It's a safe option as long as you're a low risk pregnancy, and not think
When
like,
you
oh,
made the baby at home, you might as well have the baby at home.
but when we don't know these things, like, you know, so that's what I'm here for. That's what us midwives, future midwives are here for.
I'm just joking though. But it works. You made the baby at home. You can have the baby at home. So
And it works for us as a people. That is what we come from. And especially here in
when it's
Alabama,
COVID now, that work it works for us.
it's a safe option as long as you're low risk, you
Hmm.
know. But we have to know that those options are available. And that means we have to keep talking about it. Like sometimes I feel like I'm like blue in the face. I feel like I said the same thing on every interview. I said the same thing on every consultation. It's like, but that's what I have to do in
Yeah.
order for the information to be received, and for us to change our minds about it. Because the other ways are not working for us.
It's not. And just don't get in the bubble. Some people they do stuff for so long they're in a bubble and they think everybody thinks like them. And we like, we don't know what you're talking about. So
Right. Right.
that's why I tell her, right, just don't get in the bubble where you
Yeah.
think that I've said this enough, they should already have it. No, they don't. You have to keep saying it.
Yeah, it's frustrating sometimes, and I know that can speak to other business owners as well. Like, you feel like you are getting the information out there about your business. You are marketing, you're advertising, you're having those conversations, and people still don't get it. But what I had to realize, and my husband reminds me of this quite frequently, is that we're in a time where most people don't want to do the research,
Right.
right? They don't want to do it themselves.
Right.
And we're in a social media age where we look at a hashtag or whatever, and we are not looking at where the information comes from. Like, okay, you said, they don't listen to us. They think that our pain tolerance levels are higher than other people, right? But where does that idea come from? Knowing where they derive from is important for us to get to a solution. Um, so that's what I'm here for, I guess.
Ooh, that was some good stuff.
Yeah,
That was good. I'm glad you stuck it out with me. What
absolutely.
I was doing in the beginning. I was like, okay, I know it. I see me and I see you. And you said I ended the broadcast and I don't even remember going over there, but okay.
Right. We had a little challenge, but that's okay.
This was an amazing talk, and I definitely will be moving forward getting everybody I know who's pregnant a doula certificate. That is,
Aw, thank
yeah,
you.
definitely. I will. That's
Yeah.
part of my speech. I'm Miss Advocate, so I advocate for everything. Like, do this, do this. You should do more of this. I'm like, get them a doula certificate.
Yeah, like it's important, and it doesn't have to be me. I would love for it to be me, but every client is not for me. But they need to have somebody on their
And then,
team.
I mean, I wasn't like this giving birth, like, but a lot of women they are so angry at their mate that is like you need somebody else in there to
Yeah.
talk to you. Now, though, my mother wasn't in my last two births, but my first daughter that I had, she was there, and that's who I wanted to hurt. I was just like, if you don't stop talking, you got one more thing to say later.
Yeah. I have a whole conversation about that,
I'm
about
coming off this
family.
table at you.
Yeah,
One more thing. That's
I know. That's one of my
all
conversations
I
that I
know. You was
have.
just trying to help, but I was just like, you got one more question to
I
ask me.
know.
Don't
The
ask me nothing else.
They have to be prepared. Like the people at your birth have to be prepared for the type of birth that you want.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that I do is like, some clients will come and be like, oh, I want my mom and my mother-in-law and my sister and my
No, baby,
cousin.
boo.
And
No,
that's fine
no,
if they are the right people. They
no,
have to be
they
the
don't
right
want it. They just
people.
don't know they don't want it. 'Cause their
You,
mom and sister ain't tell you how it's gonna really be. My mom
yeah.
was saying you ain't in labor because whenever I'm uncomfortable, I smile a lot. So that's my
Okay.
coping mechanism. So they kept saying you're too happy to be in labor. I said no, I'm in pain. I'm hurting. Then this is how I'm coping. She said you ain't
Right.
got the ugly face yet. So when I got to active labor and I had that ugly face, she said, "Oh, there it go, baby, there it go." I said,
Yeah.
"One more time."
Yeah, so you have to
I
know
want
those
her
things
out of here.
beforehand. Yeah, you need to know that beforehand, not
I
when you're in
want her out
labor.
of here. That's how I was thinking within myself. Get her out of here.
Yes, I've had that happen a couple times with the clients that did not listen when I, said, "Hey, I don't know if that's the best idea."
No, they triggering you before birth. They gonna trigger you during birth. You know, all them triggering folks. That I'm sorry.
That's a word for
They only,
somebody.
yeah, they said only the father can be in there. Look, I don't know what folks told me. You might want to talk to them. Then just talk to your doctor and say, I told my mom, I lied to my mom and said only my husband can be in there. So I just need you to back me up. And they'll say, all right,
Yeah,
you know,
I
because
know.
they don't want to deal with all that drama. They just want to help you deliver the baby.
Yeah, so you have to figure those things
Get
out.
you out the bed, get you in and get you out. That's really all they want to do.
Right, right.
That's
Well,
a
this has been
great
great.
conversation. Yeah, let me
Thank
get my
you.
other card because I want that boss mom shirt.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wear that every day because I don't go nowhere other than do these produce boxes. But I'm gonna be wearing that. That's
Yes.
what I am. That's what
Thank you so much for your support. For anyone watching, you guys can follow me on Instagram at Nadia the Doula. On Facebook, I am,
let me do that right now since you're saying it. You said
yes,
Instagram.
um, I am Doula Nadia Gramby on Facebook. And then my business page on Facebook is Crown of Glory Birth BHM, and also on Instagram. So you guys follow me. And if you have questions, feel free to go over to my website at crownofglorybirth.com. Um,
I don't know if they can see that. That's your Instagram page.
yes, yes,
So I'm gonna follow you on all my pages. They be like,
yes. And
I didn't know you ran that page. I didn't want nobody to know I ran that page. That's why you don't
oh, so
know.
you're hiding
Okay.
out. You're hiding out,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. I didn't want nobody to know I did that.
I
I
know, right? So you have to have some level of privacy. You do. I understand for sure. Yeah, but this has been really great. I appreciate your time and this opportunity and this
yes,
platform, your
I
support.
learned some things.
And well, I'm
But
happy to hear that. You
I
never want to
needed
like
you
do this, and they're like,
4 years
okay.
ago. I needed you when you first started, but I didn't know that I needed you.
I
I had
know.
these three doulas, and I was like, they ain't trying to pay, and I can't pay out of pocket. I'm gonna have to figure this out. Then I
Yeah.
got pregnancy, and I was like, let's get
I
this baby out. There you
I
go.
know. I hate that though because like yeah, I mean before for people that are pregnant currently, I do accept flexible spending account payments through my website. So that's an option as well. And for people who are not signed up for flexible spending and you're thinking about having a baby or even not, we sign up every year. It's an amazing benefit that you can sign up for through your insurance. See, this is my HR side coming out. So when you have open enrollment this year, you need to inquire with your employer about flexible spending
Yeah,
accounts. You
yeah.
need to ask about that. It's so important.
I mean, we
Um,
use it for therapy. So, like, my
yeah,
baby goes to therapy, we go to therapy, and we just give them our FSA card, and they run it.
yeah. You can use it for co-payments. You can use it, for the
Yeah,
dentist, the
yeah,
dermatologist,
prescriptions, yeah, everything.
your doula, prescriptions. Like these are the things that we need to
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you
They
so
need to
much.
know. They need to know resources and how to use them.
Right. How to use them.
How to use them.
That's the key.
Appreciate quality of life. That's all I preach about. We need a high
Yes.
quality of life, and we got all the stuff in place. We just need to make sure it's working for us. So,
Right. Right. Absolutely.
all right, I'm gonna let you go because I know I've been talking to you for like over an
Well,
hour. So
thank you so much.
enjoy the rest of your
I
day.
could do this all day. Yeah. So don't go off of me because I can.
I want to thank you. I know they ain't gonna watch a whole hour plus live.
Yeah.
We need them to
Right.
catch the replay.
Right.
You
Catch
need
the
to go on
replay.
your website and buy some shirts
That's
and
right.
get doula certificates.
Yes.
Get some classes if they want to be a doula. Get coached on
Right.
business. That's what we need. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you so much, Nadia.
I
And you will
enjoyed it.
hear from me again. I enjoyed this. I learned a lot. I'll,
Yeah. And then,
I'll be
just
in your inbox like, hey, what about this? Hey, what about that?
yeah, and make sure you follow, subscribe to the website. I have some more shirts coming out that I'm pretty sure you'll love. There's another one on there. It should be Pretty Girls Pray as well. So yeah, just we'll keep in contact.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Now,
Bye.
if there's some other business owners who would like me to do a virtual pop in with you, just contact me either on Black Main Street. And if you know me, if you're personally on my page, my personal page, just inbox me or text me if you have my number. So that's my spiel. I don't have a sign off yet. We'll get there.
You'll get there.
Bye, Nadia.
Bye.